people have in their heads this idea about doing something big, about some huge cataclysmic change that you're going to bring or affect on the world. And the thing to really do is to do little things every day with a lot of love, with a lot of integrity, with a lot of commitment, and not worry about result. But just every day to be giving, to give a little bit more concentrated, so that your expansion is happening in little moments. That's where things count. Not in these big events, but in the very little moments of every day, the way you're thinking. The first thing that the artist does is become obsessed with an idea, and they visualize it. They see the the construction, and then the work is to get that mental construction built in the physical world. There was a time in training where dancers were taught, just learn the steps, and the choreographer will fill you with ideas. It's ridiculous. Nobody wants to work that hard. Nobody wants to try to pull things out of you. They want you to come to the table with ideas and then take them deeper. Because everything is a collaboration. If I didn't have great dancers, nothing would be realized. So it's all of us working together. It's not like I'm working with paints or colors or Legos. They're human beings. And so they have a lot to bring to the table. And we are a triumvirate, body, mind, spirit, and they have to bring all three. And that's a lot, because some people only bring body. Some people want to bring mind, but you need all three to balance to make it a full and generous offering. When you are rehearsing a group of people and you have a short amount of time, there's a role that you play as leader. And when you're working with brilliant artists, you don't want to waste their time. And so your work is seeing the vision before you go in to build it. it's like a blueprint. You see it in your head first, and then you go in and you construct it. If the construction doesn't look right, or it's not what you saw, then you tinker, then you play. But you go in with an idea of how it's going to be built. The music, there's always music. And wherever you move, there's music. To make music, you have to move. You have to blow something, use your fingers, hit something. So movement and music are the same thing. And so when I'm working with music, I want a music that creates a landscape that doesn't do all the talking. So that there's parts where the music will support the movement, and there's parts where the movement becomes the lead instrument and the music becomes the chorus. And so there's a conversation and a dialogue. A great dancer has the qualities that you admire in great human beings. They are incredibly brilliant, because to be a great dancer you have to be brilliant. There is a heightened sense of awareness, of knowing and being in the moment. There is a fearlessness, a compassion, a generosity, the ability to get away from self-consciousness and become absorbed in an idea and to embody an idea instead of thinking about themselves, to think of something bigger than them, the way that you would want a politician to be, to think of the community as opposed to getting reelected again. So it's that largeness and that selflessness in humanity that you find in great dancing, that the physics is incredibly clear and understood, and that on every level there is an understanding and a generosity, so that when you look at the work in great dancing, you could not envision it any other way. You say, what they've done is the definitive. What else would you do? Everything is a collaboration. So the artists that you're working with what's wonderful about them is their understanding of ideas, because that's what dance is. You're building ideas. And if they understand ideas and they see themselves as creative people and their minds are plastic and they feel that they have the ability to do anything, then you can fly. If I say love to somebody, to someone that may be erotic, to another person it may be parental, to another person it may be spiritual, their God. So everyone has a different plug-in about how they understand things, and that's what you're working with. You're working with human beings with feelings, and minds. And so in your selection of dancers, you want to pick the highest thinking, deepest feeling people that you can find, so that you know that something interesting is going to occur. You also want to choose people who are not thinking about what they're going to get, but what they're going to bring to the art. They're people who have ideas about what they want to do. You don't want passive people. You want people who really have given it thought about how they want to dance, what they want to do, and that they're able to do two things. That they're able to step into their own genius and produce, and they're also able to let go and be a little baby and follow you. So you need both. You need their genius, and you also need their surrender. And with those two combinations, you can make amazing things. Well, working with dancers, I really prefer to use the term artist, because if their medium wasn't dance, it would be something else. One of the things about art is that often we miss in our education is that art is really a knowledge, and it's inherent in everybody. And some people it's developed, and some people it's not. And in its simplest form, it's the knowledge of how things are done. Most human beings, we all have in common that we want to avoid pain and suffering, and we want some kind of joy that's ever new. It's like in performing or in being, let's say you have to be like you are in a room when you're by yourself with the doors closed and locked and the lights are off. Even when someone that you love and know comes in, there's a bit of an accommodation. And so how do you do that on stage with thousands of people in front of you? It has to be really a big internal world and a bravery that you're not hiding, that what you are is enough, and you let it be revealed. And it's a beautiful thing. Babies do it. Beauty is connected to truth. So if we say 2 + 2 = 5, it's not a beautiful equation because it's not true. And so if we say 2 + 2 = 4, we nod our heads in agreement because we know 2 things plus another 2 things equal 4. And we agree, yes, that is an equation that's beautiful, simple, and true. And the same thing happens with art making. If it's false, how can it be beautiful? Most of us have in our heads a neurotic roommate who's always chatting and talking. When you have the ability to step into something creative, that chatter diminishes and something larger begins to envelop, and it's an incredibly liberating feeling because there's a sense of freedom. You're not tied down. Everyone is born with an enemy and a friend inside of them. No one can hurt you like you can hurt yourself, and no one can help you like you can hurt yourself. There's a battle going on in all of us where the enemy wants to sit on the throne of our mental consciousness and where the friend wants to occupy the throne. And they are engaged in a life or death battle. And we have to make the friend win. One of the amazing things about art is that you get away from self-thought, the chatter, what I feel like, what happened to me yesterday, what they did to me, oh, I like this, oh, I dislike that. All of that silences, and then your world expands and you feel huge, and it's a great feeling. It's one of the things that happens in primordial cultures when they do circle dance, and there's a feeling of community and everyone joins into it, and yet you'll notice unique differences from each of them, and yet they're all together, and they are not entertaining the viewer or the spectator. They are tuning in and trying to get larger than themselves.